All right, I think we're live. Mic check 1 2 1 2 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone in the chat can hear me, just push one. All right, got a confirmation from the chat. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 470. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit the notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Document description beneath the video for you to follow along with. There'll be a link in the chat for you to click upon. If you want to engage in the discussion, click on the link, raise your hand, and one of us will acknowledge you to advance you to the panel. Oh, man. Grab the link. Let me pop the joint first.
I'm hip to the game. Always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, we got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. I'm hip to the game. Always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, we got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. Finesse fell off, that's what some figure. You better see Mary Blige and get the 411, nigga. I rock rappers frequently. I'm like Stevie Wonder. I can't see a brother beating me. Wanna throw joints, you get spanked. Fella wanna talk dough? I'm seeing more cash in a bank teller. Wanna talk girls, you can't follow this. I've been through more skins than the average dermatologist. I'm no joke on a fast or slow tip. Pockets stay so thick, be on some down low shit. I turn them C's red fast. I never sell out. Fuck that, yo, I'm dead ass. I'm rolling like TNT. When it comes to this, ain't another brother seeing me. That's why opponents always get scared. Cause I make brothers go, well, yo, now that's that I'm shit there. I'm hip to the game. I'll always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, I got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. I'm hip to the game. I'll always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, we got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. Brothers better lounge when I pass through town.
You better recognize.
Don't know, better ask around. Word life, I'm not a new figure. They say good things come to those who wait. I'm overdue, nigga. I lounge and rock tunes the way I be saving the day. Give me a cape and a costume. But no, it's not Batman, it's the original black man. That goes back like the Gap Band. I don't run scams, got dumb fans. Yo, I'm one man that's quick to toast a nigga like a suntan. People wonder what I rock against shit. Rap without finesse is like life without oxygen. It's no quiz, I get biz. You know what the deal is. Rap ain't shit if it ain't real, kid. Can a rapper outplay me?
Do you think, kid?
Word life, no doubt, baby. I'll always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, we got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. I'm hip to the game. I'll always be the same. Cause when I'm broke, we got things, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. I don't stutter, I'm so butter like no other word. I'm that funky type of soul brother. I get stupid, but I'm dumb wise. I'm one guy that can rock a party from night until sunrise. You can't mess with the rap lord. That's like saying you can dunk when you can't touch the backboard. Huh. I got the smooth rep. I got styles that kung fu motherfuckers didn't use yet. How long I've been rocking rap? Since niggas is wearing leaves, mark necks, and sporting stocking caps. Plus, I be flipping figures and 9-5 and beyond. Best believe I got some shit for niggas. I'll always be the same. Cause what I broke, the God thing, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed. I'm hip to the game. I'll always be the same. Cause what I broke, the God thing, sunshine or rain. Ain't a damn thing changed.
All right. We got 2 thumbs down. I'm surprised at that.
They must be some DITC haters. Damn, already?
Yeah. People watching.
I mean, it's, you know, original heads is representing over here, man. We're like, what's good?
But that's funny though. The car talks, we don't get any thumbs down.
I mean, I don't. What's behind? Man, I'm just curious about that, man.
The growth, man. The growth.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought, you don't know. We got some Lord Finesse haters or something.
Well, we you know, we got 3 thumbs down now. So.
All right, man. Let me shut up.
All right, man. All right. Tonight is Black Blockchain Talk. We get through the advertising real quick for the events that are coming up. So this is the DC Blockchain Summit 2020, March 11th to the 12th. For those building and investing in the blockchain industry, engagement with the policy community is paramount, and the DC Blockchain Summit is ground zero for many of these discussions. I'm sad that I can't even attend this. I actually anticipated going to this, but it fell at the same time as my other blockchain event as well. So I don't know how frequent these events happen in DC. It does look like it's butter late, to be quite honest, but I'd rather be on the continent than that. So
Where is this?
This is in DC.
Okay.
And so digital assets and blockchain technology were remembered as one of the most important breakthrough technologies of the last decade. However, the industry faces significant hurdles to mass adoption. So March 11th to the 12th, it looks like it's going to be dope. So I'll have to catch it another time. But that's the skinny on if you're in the on the East Coast and in the DC area, this is what's going to be coming down next month. All right. Let me get this next one.
Hey, we doing economics tomorrow?
Yeah, there is an economics hangout.
All right. Yeah, I got a joint I'm gonna send you for that one.
This one is Blockchain Africa Conference. So this one is also the 11th to the 12th in Johannesburg, Joburg.
That's dope.
And so you're going to see a lot of networking exhibitions, or exhibitions and global experts, thought leaders. Thought leaders are very important. A lot of sponsors, diamond sponsors, premier sponsors, and gold sponsors, and so on and so forth. I only know a couple of people from here that's going to be on there. I know Camille or Carmille. She's definitely dope, very knowledgeable about blockchain. Who else is going to be there? Just a whole litany of info. Yep, I'm familiar with this person as well, this brother as well. So, member of the Presidential Commission on the Fourth Industrial Revolution. That's the sort of butter stuff that they're doing over there. You know, I've said this many times before, and people have scoffed at me and said I'm a hater of ADOS, but this is how they're thinking. This is how they're moving.
He was cute. He probably down there on the lower left.
Oh, that's Michelle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's very knowledgeable about blockchain as well. Saw her at the last event. Yeah, that's how they're thinking. They're organizing around fourth industrial revolution or fourth industrialization. We have not had those conversations to that point. As far as I know, we're the only ones in the manosphere, or even Black YouTube for that matter, having those conversations about fourth industrialization. I couldn't believe what I was hearing today. People not believing in space. Satellites don't exist.
Where did you hear this?
Oh,
well, you don't have to say it. Never mind.
You know, the moon is just a hologram. You know, the Earth is flat. I couldn't deal with it. So what I'm saying here is this is how they're thinking on the continent, and that's what's going on. So March 11th to the 12th, Blockchain Africa Conference. All right. Get to the next item on the docket. All right, this one is from the Digital Chamber, same people who are running the DC Summit. Chamber of Digital Commerce to file amicus brief advocating for a predictable legal environment for the blockchain industry. Let me read the caption real quick. Today, the Chamber of Digital Commerce submitted a motion for leave to file an amicus curiae brief in the SEC versus Telegram case currently pending in the Southern District of New York. The Chamber is contributing to this case to be a true friend of the court and provide a legal framework based on settled SEC jurisprudence to create a predictable legal environment for the blockchain industry. In submitting this brief, the Chamber does not take a view on whether the offer and sale of grams is a securities transaction. The key determination that the Chamber seeks is to distinguish between the subject of an investment contract with the securities transactions associated with it. This requires two separate analyses: whether there is an investment contract offered as a securities transaction, and two, whether the subject of an investment contract is a commodity that can be sold in an ordinary commercial transaction. The Chamber further seeks confirmation that a digital asset is not a security solely by virtue of being in digital form or recorded in a blockchain database. Uncertainty as to how the federal securities laws apply to digital assets is stifling economic development in the United States. The technology neutral principle remains consistent with the law established by the Howey case and its progeny. So what's happening here is that they're cracking down on some of these platforms, and they're trying to make it seem as if they're not playing ball with the Security Exchanges Commission, but in fact, they. This is just my opinion. I'm not an expert on the legal process here. My understanding is that this is not being traded on the stock market, and so nor is it an actual legal tender. It's not a currency of legal tender. So why do they have to abide by these rules? I don't know. I think that it's a slippery slope at this point?
Because it has to deal with the fact that a currency that is under the jurisdiction of the Securities Exchange Commission and the like, and all these different regulatory bodies, they view it as, if you use that currency to buy something, even if it's in digital form, it is something. And the reason for the purchase is to have something that increases in value, right? So this quote unquote digital currency in and of itself, even though it is, like you said, it is completely outside of the jurisdiction of anything, right? So it's a theoretical currency. They're trying to basically claim jurisdiction over basically a theoretical currency. So that's kind of where that murky gray area is, because you are using legal tender in the form of federal notes, to acquire the stuff. Unless you're mining it, that's a whole different subject.
Right.
But when you have exchanges, and you have real money involved, you know what I mean? Like the activity of that money does have to be accounted for in some way, shape, or form, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where does that begin and end?
Right. Well, they're trying to squeeze a lot of these platforms for everything that they're worth, or everything that they potentially could be worth. You see, I think they are afraid that another Facebook, another sort of platform that could be worth billions of dollars can escape from their grasp, and they don't want to end up in that situation one more again. And then also you have lobbyists, man, who play on behalf, of Washington, and these other agencies that, that are looking at all these companies, all these startups, and saying we got to squeeze them. But like the article said, a lot of this is stymieing the development within the United States. And so because of that, Asia, Southeast Asia, can run circles around the United States because they don't have all this legislation.
Well, I was going to say, you already know how, we're kind of seeing now the limitations of what happens when you have basically a corporate plutocracy that runs your country,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everything is mandated by corporations. And so corporations are going to be looking to take the protectionist measure, the protectionist route at all angles. You see, so there's never going to be any sort of legislation that actually pushes progression. It's to basically stymie progression.
Right. Right. You're going to end up with a Tea Party sort of scenario where people just start dumping all the emperor's tea into the
Yep.
harbor. You're going to see that eventually, from a digital standpoint. I'm saying, from a digital standpoint, you're going to see a Tea Party movement within the tech sector. But that's why you're seeing all these events pop up where they're starting to have more intellectual discussion about this type of stuff, because if this is what's happening, to a few platforms, that means they're going to start setting a precedent for now, so that they start going after other people, other startups and stuff like that. So, all right, this one is from Blockchain News. Perion Boring. Blockchain will be the foundation of the new financial system. Oh shit. Perion Boring is the founder and president of the Chamber of Digital Commerce that we talked about a few minutes ago, the world's first and largest blockchain trade association. Boring began her career as a legislative analyst in the U.S. House of Representatives, advising on finance, economics, tax, and healthcare policy. Prior to forming the chamber, Boring was a television host and anchor of an international finance program that aired in more than 100 countries and to over 650 million viewers. In part two of the interview, Boring urged the United States to catch up with the People's Republic of China following the inclusion of blockchain in their 13th five-year plan. She also outlined the evolution of money issuance standards and argues that blockchain and cryptocurrencies are the keys to overcome the challenges faced by the current monetary system. But we talked about this earlier, right? That Southeast Asia is going to run circles around you, and that they have, their strategy all mapped out. Meanwhile, the United States is basically sitting on it, twiddling their thumbs.
They're looking at a way to basically utilize current infrastructure, right, to try to shoehorn all the blockchain and crypto and all that shit into what you have now.
Right.
And it's just, yeah.
On October 25th, 2019, Chinese leader Xi Jinping gave a speech where he encouraged Chinese enterprises to seize the opportunity in using and accelerating the development of blockchain technology. This was a significant event in China's perspective of the technology and cemented several previous public statements regarding blockchain. It took the markets by surprise as the shares of 70 Chinese technology companies rose significantly. The price of Bitcoin surged, and internet searches for the term blockchain on WeChat grew 60-fold. This opportunity gave large local enterprises such as social media giant WeChat and payment platform Alipay the green light to innovate with enhanced freedom. Boring said, blockchain is part of China's 13th five-year plan. They want to be the first country to issue a central bank digital currency, CBDC. They've invested significant resources for many, many years into this technology, and they've applied for at least 80 patents. So they are taking this very seriously. Other countries should take notice. And of course, we want the United States to be at the forefront as well. Already major industrialized nations are making significant advances in promoting and adopting this technology. Make it a hard run to surpass the United States and obtain the economic value this industry offers. Meanwhile, the United States risks missing out on blockchain's enormous potential for innovation and economic growth. We talked about that earlier. Blockchain is set to play a key role in many sectors in the future, including financial services, cybersecurity, digital identity and privacy, healthcare, and insurance, supply chain, and intellectual property, and others. China's public entry into the blockchain space has prompted many to describe the situation as the new kind of space race, with many believing that whoever masters the technology first will dominate the development for future generations. Boring said, I think that's very possible, and China could also become the leaders in finance and monetary policy, and that is going to have a direct result on our national security. Who's been saying that all markets are going east? Who's been saying that?
I think we have.
So this is incredibly important, and I do think blockchain is going to play a huge role in the future of money in the United States. Needs to be taken a lot more seriously than we are right now. So I'm not going to read the rest of this because it's all about Facebook and their money experiment. But and again, they're advertising the DC Blockchain Summit. I think some of you guys should actually join this type of stuff if you're going to be available. You don't want to play catch up with discussions, the intellectual discussions and thought leaders that are going to be there. This is the sort of stuff that's going to allow us to tap into these sort of markets. But, we have talked about this before. People have come on here and tried to argue with us. Not that we have a problem with them, but I question the legitimacy of these statements that the United States is going to do well. China has a 5-year plan. They just pushed 80 patents in the last a few months on blockchain. They're actually the leaders of blockchain right now. It's going to be a part of their whole, they're going to be the first ones to have a CBDC, basically issuing a treasury out of blockchain, not blockchain, but out of cryptocurrencies. This is going to be major. This is going to be absolutely major. When I was on the continent at an African Tech Summit, they were having the same discussions. The future of money on the continent. Is it really important to have physical paper dollars? A lot of people are saying no. that this is going to go away in 10 years and that they're trying to adopt cryptocurrencies now. So say what you want, the United States is going one way and everybody else is going a completely different way.
Hey, I got nothing to put on that, man. That's pretty much the facts.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say to people, you know.
Yeah, I got nothing else to put on it.
All right, jump to the next item on the docket. I don't think we're gonna be on here too long.
We're doing a car chat, huh?
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
All right, this one is from worldbank.org. Exploring blockchain for traceability of World Bank loan disbursements. Oh shit, this is too big. The World Bank Group Technology and Innovation Lab invites interested parties to respond to an invitation for a prototype build for application of blockchain and DLT protocols to address disbursement traceability of World Bank funded projects. The World Bank Innovation Lab provides a learning platform, exploration space, and technology advice around disruptive technologies. The World Bank Innovation Lab collaborates with its internal technology and business units and external stakeholders to explore, test, and understand new technology capabilities that will enable the World Bank to fully harness the digital age to achieve its mission. This is a collaboration selection. There will not be any compensation except for travel and incidental expenses authorized and directed by the World Bank project manager. The solicitation may be obtained by sending an email to the designated category manager referencing the following information. It's not important right now. A copy of the solicitation will be sent to organizations that have replied to and are eligible to receive this advertisement. The World Bank Group reserves the right to publicly disclose contract award information, including but not limited to name of company receiving the reward, brief description of services, and contract award amount for any contract award valued over $250,000. So they're giving away money, you know, for those who have the ability to understand blockchain and actually implement it. And actually, it happened yesterday. So the closing date was yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday. Okay.
Yeah. And so this is what's going on right now. You got the World Bank, you got China, you got the continent of Africa having these discussions. The Caribbean is going to have a major blockchain discussion later on this year, sometime in October. Big stuff happening. They just had another event in Barbados called Smart Barbados, where they were talking to blockchain and cryptocurrencies were at the forefront of the discussion. This is what's going on around us. You know, I don't know what other people are thinking, that the United States is going to, you know, be the, the breadwinner. I'm not saying anybody has to leave. I'm not saying anybody has to do anything right now. We're just reporting the news as it stands. This is from the World Bank. This is not, from some rogue website just throwing out this information.
Yeah, that is the World Bank right there.
Yeah, that's the World Bank. They're having this conversation right now. China is having these conversations. You heard Xi Jinping in the last article talking about being at the forefront of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And being
that's the president of China.
Yeah. And, Black people, for all intents and purposes, at least in the manosphere I'm going to refer to, is that, they say that, space doesn't exist and, the moon is a hologram and the satellites don't exist.
And this stuff right here, I mean, they can't implement this right here for like another 100 years, man, because you still got people who, need to do the regular jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, dude, damn, what does it say? My people perish for their lack of knowledge, or what I don't know who said that saying, but I mean, it's so appropriate, when you kind of hear this stuff. But we kind of sit here and we put this work in on a daily basis. It's like, dude, like if if you're reading the right sources of information, you would totally laugh at the notion of what it is that you're actually saying, because the information is literally right here. So sometimes it's like people are thinking 180 degrees diametrically in opposition to what's actually going on. And it's just amazing that they will actually like hammer it, hammer it back, in opposition. It's like, yo, like, this is out here. This is out here. Like, this is going on right now. Like, dude, don't take my word for it. I mean, you should, but
Shout out to Art New Stall TV. This one is from agriculturevermont.gov. This is from the Vermont government. VAFM will employ blockchain technology for 2020 hemp season. Sounds right up Complex's alley.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, let me expand this out. The Vermont Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets, VAFM, recently finalized a strategic contract with Vermont-based company Trace to utilize the company's blockchain-based platform with a secure soil-to-shelf hemp registration, licensing, and enforcement tracking system.
Wait a minute. Where is engineering cannabis?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The first in the nation hemp tracking system will allow the agency to assist Vermont's hemp growers and processors with the rapid expansion of the hemp marketplace. The agency is excited to partner with Trace in developing blockchain technology to administer the hemp program's registration and crop and product tracking needs to help ensure consumer protection and quality control in Vermont's growing hemp industry, said Carrie Guguire, the VAFM Director of Public Health and Agricultural Resources Management. We are excited to partner in the rollout of this new and innovative work. Vermont producers, consumers will benefit from the transparency this partnership brings to the Vermont hemp industry. We are thrilled to be partnering with the state of Vermont in this endeavor, said Trace CEO Josh Decatur. Our company was born in Vermont, so we've been able to see firsthand the value Trace can bring to Vermonters growing, cultivating, testing, and selling hemp. The Trace platform will allow hemp growers, processors, and certified laboratories to register online while also acting as the administrative management system for the state hemp program. The Trace technology will allow the agency to track the status of the state's hemp crop and ensure that Vermont's reputation for producing high quality hemp is maintained through monitoring and enforcement. Vermont will also become the first state in the nation to have fully integrated registration and tracking system for hemp program. VAFM Secretary Anson Tibetitz said, the agency is delighted to partner with a Vermont company to develop this exciting new agriculture crop and to help our growers meet the expectations of a high quality Vermont product. The passage of the 2018 Farm Bill has legalized hemp in all 50 states, with Vermont seeing rapid growth in hemp grower registration from the 2018 to 2019 growing season. In 2018, the agency issued 461 grower licenses, up from 89 in 2017. In 2019, that number grew to 986. The growth has required the agency to move forward with the innovative ideas to ensure the agency can assist our hemp growers to produce the premium quality that consumers expect in Vermont product, the vet said. The technology will be employed for the 2020 hemp program registration season. So
everything engineering cannabis has been saying. Literally everything.
Yeah, I don't know what Cat's been thinking, but this is what's popping right now.
And I mean, this is just confirmation. We've been putting y'all up on game on this whole thing, especially as it pertains to like hemp and cannabis for a good minute. I mean, I would even posit to say we've done a whole lot of business modeling with regards to it. And, you know, outside of a few firms that we have been following, you know, there wasn't any, you know, there wasn't any proof or anything like on this level where you got government involvement. You know, that's a company that's you know, contracting with the state of Vermont to do all of this, you know. So kind of
This is
speaks to what it is that we've been trending on.
right, and this is what social enterprising is. Trace is a social enterprise. They are working hand in hand with the government to socially impact, and at least in a positive way, hemp production. And so working with the government actually allows them to stay employed. This is exactly the type of stuff that we've been saying.
That's exactly.
Impact entrepreneurship. But when we talk about social enterprise, people see the social part and they say, well, that's socialism.
That's socialism. That's exactly what the fuck we get labeled with. That's your Marxist, socialist, communist, is bullshit. You know, go back and check out the guerrilla farming live stream that we did. Okay.
Mufasa Shabazz, peace to Mufasa. He says, I still don't see where blockchain helps cannabis retail. Well, let's hear from Engineering Cannabis, because he can speak volumes to that from a blockchain perspective. We've talked about how blockchain could actually be beneficial in that area with strands.
Wait, what did he say? What was the question?
He said, I still don't see where the blockchain helps cannabis retail.
Cannabis in retail?
Cannabis sales and retail.
I mean, it's the thing about it is it's more from a track and trace, quality control, hell, even inventory, hell, even accepting cryptocurrency for the stuff. It could actually help in a lot of ways.
You can know where it was grown, where who grew it, how long it took to ship, who shipped it. There's a whole lot that comes into in the same way that you see the nutrition facts on the back of food. You'll see the same sort of perspective on the back of a cannabis package in retail, where you pull out your phone and scan that QR code and you know all the information right away. Authenticity is really key with cannabis. You can't have a bunch of Reggie being sold in retail.
Yeah, and you know, if you find that a specific lot may have been tested for some sort of trace material, pesticide, or a pest or something like that, you can easily pull all of the flower that came from that lot or that batch, you know, just by, you know, going on the blockchain and saying, okay, where was all this stuff dispersed to? Then you go hit all those retailers, hey, pull this stuff off.
All the way down to the dirt.
Yep.
When the soil was used.
It literally tracks every single thing.
Yeah, see, we have to understand that blockchain and distributed ledger technology is just the piece of digital infrastructure. It's the applications that attach to the blockchain is what's going to drive it, right? So blockchain is basically just a highway, a information highway that provides accuracy, right? Because it's immutable, it can't be changed. So whatever goes on is exactly what you're going to see. What you get, what you see is what you get. But Mufasa, you're welcome to come onto the panel. Engineering Cannabis, you're welcome to come onto the panel. We can have more dialogue about that. Let me actually let me try my close real quick.
Let me check and see if there's any questions in the chat. They have it. They have that without the blockchain. I can tell you how it works. No, see, the thing about blockchain is it's the type of technology that it is. It's distributed ledger technology, and the stuff updates by the second, basically. So it allows for a different type of it allows for different types of tracking matrices. You could track more things in real time. and you can, it's scalable in terms of application, like across different applications. So again, they call it seed to sale, right? So you have something on a blockchain that can literally track every single piece of data or every single little piece of input, you know, from the seed all the way into the final packaging and then on into the retail space. So, I mean, and I would even imagine that at some point in the future, there's going to even probably be something where people can, you know, scan a QR and they'll be able to track their, you know, they can pre-purchase a harvest or pre-purchase like a pound of bud. And the thing about it is they'll be able to like follow like on a webcam or something. And you just scan this QR and the batch that they purchase, they can watch the cultivation of it the whole way through before it gets like shipped out to them or they go pick it up or something. So many cool things, man.
Or they get a notification through WhatsApp if you connect the APIs together.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, dude, this is gonna go in places that, you know, people haven't, I don't want to say haven't thought about. Maybe there's people kicking around ideas, but it's stuff that you haven't seen right now. And we're starting to see this stuff now. So I can't see how someone says, oh, no, thanks to that blockchain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when business fundamentally shifts and changes over to utilizing this type of platform, I can't see a business not implementing it and then thinking that they can run as efficient as a business that does.
Yeah, let me get to this next article from Digital Chamber again.
Okay. Peace. Y'all hear me?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Yo.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, this is Mufasa.
What's going on, Mufasa?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Oh, not too much. So yeah, I was wondering on that because I've been thinking about this. I just don't see. That was what I was bringing up earlier because so Metric, the track and trace program in place in California, they do everything that you guys said as far as the seed to sell, track and trace. All you need, each labeling has the batch that it is. It has the harvest date, and if you have access to the Metric software, you can see where it was grown, all the testing associated with it, who exactly did it without the blockchain. How does the blockchain improve that process? And then I would ask too, the other day you were talking about how, let's say for instance, you know, people believe in the blockchain because they're like, oh, it's a blockchain, you can't hide anything from it. But if there's human error, how are you able to fix that human error? Or is it always stuck because it's in the blockchain? Or would it be easier to fix it with just normal software where I could just go through and make a change?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll answer the first question, and I don't know, maybe Mike wants to tackle the second one, or maybe I can. Well, the answer to the first question. So, kind of similar to what you know, my partner and I do with our hemp business, right? So we have a proprietary strain of hemp flower, and it's as it is right now. It's exactly what you said. So you get the package. There's a QR code on it. You scan the QR code with your phone. A little URL pops up. You click it, and then you get the lab results, and it gives you the whole terpene profile, everything on that batch of plant. That's what it does. So it's the same thing. That's what we have implemented right now. Blockchain basically records all the data. So in the current scenario, there's a farmer. He's out here. He's growing his hemp. And then when they harvest the batch, what they do is they'll pull off. They'll say, "Hey, send us 3 or 4 ounces of sample flour, like all the flour from the singular batch." Because what they do is they test it all and they get an aggregate number, and that's what they go with. So some flours could test maybe above 0.03% CBD, which is over the legal limit. But then some flours will test under that, right? And then what they do is they run an aggregate, so they get to the middle point, and as long as that middle point averages out to beneath 0.03, it's good flour, right? So what happens here is what if you so you harvest, you send your flour in, lab results come back, it's over 3. That harvest is no good.
Right.
Okay? And the thing is that had you had the data during the grow, you could have saw this and maybe adjusted a nutrient, or you could have done something a little bit different with the nutrients in real time. Now,
So
blockchain. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Finish.
So this is where something like blockchain comes into play, because again, depending on how you are utilizing it, it can record massive amounts of data and basically synchronize it in
And you
a
guys,
digital
everything could
ledger
be
in real
talking
time.
at the same time. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Every 7
Opposed to
seconds.
waiting for somebody to enter the
Yeah,
data.
every 7 seconds, right? So let's just say, because now they're starting to create these. They have like this spectral analysis laser gun type of thing, right? So you can point it at the plant, and it'll give you a fairly accurate like THC readout or CBD readout or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So what if you had something where, every 6 hours, every 12 hours, every 24 hours or something, that's one of the data points that's recorded on the blockchain. It scans all the flower and gives you a real-time readout. So if, let's just say, the numbers spike one day, and then you can look at correlative data and say, okay, well, why did the numbers spike during that day? Okay, wait a minute. You know what? It was warm. It was exceedingly warm in the grow room that day. So maybe what we need to do, and then you can go based off of the real-time data and say, okay, maybe we need to just keep the temperature down. And then you could even program all of this into your HVAC system. Okay. And again, this is all blockchain driven.
It's all IoT based.
Or IoT based, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all industrial IoT based, or IIoT. So that's the whole purpose of IoT in the first place.
Okay, I think my knowledge on blockchain, because when I think blockchain, I'm thinking the big thing about the blockchain is that basically the verifying process where you basically you can't break what was there. You can always see the history of it. So I'm thinking that is what we need, because what you're explaining to me, couldn't you do that with normal programming and just saying, okay, listen, we want to measure the data and see everything that happens, and I can always see the heat at any time of the day and write up charts and do these things. Is it
automated process?
Say that again.
Not from not in the automated process. You won't be able to do that.
Mm-mm.
You would need something like AI to actually do all that.
Right. Damn. Okay.
Remove the human element from it.
All right, I got to get this call.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, let me jump to this article real quick. Digital Chamber again. Digital Yuan Patent Strategy, a collection of patent applications filed by the People's Bank of China. Digital currencies have captured the attention of technologists, regulators, and some of the most powerful institutions and influencers around the world, including central banks, particularly the People's Bank of China. The PBOC has been building a central bank controlled digital currency, dubbed Digital Currency Electronic Payment, DCEP, for many years, and is now internally testing the platform. While detailed technology specifications have not been publicly made available, the PBOC has filed more than 80 patent applications on DCEP. We talked about that earlier. In the spirit of open source, the Chamber of Digital Commerce has collected, translated, and studied the patent application in English and is sharing the data freely to allow others to review and analyze this information. So this is right in the description beneath the video in the docket. You can click on it, you can go through it and read it. It's been translated. 80 patent applications from China. They are leading this right now. We have been saying this for quite some time, that all markets are moving east. This is a prime example of market shift. Anybody who thinks that the West is gonna uphold their position in a few years, you would be absolutely wrong on this. Absolutely wrong. This is the Digital Chamber of Commerce, or the Digital Chamber saying this. This is February 2020. This is not from 20 years ago. This is happening right now. This is happening right now. So say what you want, coronavirus and all this other stuff, but China is way ahead in the game right now. Way ahead in the game. You don't file patents for nothing. It's not for fun, man. This is for keeps.
That's the whole point.
Yep. All right. This is from TechCrunch.com. Hyperledger Fabric, the open source distributed ledger, reaches release 2.0. The open source Hyperledger Foundation announced the release of Hyperledger Fabric 2.0 today, the first such project to reach a 2.0 release. It's a notable milestone. The blockchain as a business tool has certainly had a rocky road over the last few years, but there is still plenty to like about smart contracts that have automated compliance checks built in. Hyperledger Fabric 2.0 has lots of new features with that in mind. The biggest update involving forcing agreement among the parties before any new data can be added to the ledger, known as decentralized governance of the smart contracts. In practice, it means that the system will prevent any entity from writing to the ledger until there is consensus among the parties involved in the transaction, a basic blockchain tenet. So, Mufasa, that's what we were talking about earlier when you were on the panel, that this is what prevents it, is that you need consensus from modifying the information and data that goes on the chain. This is a requirement because the beauty and the curse of the distributed ledger is that it is immutable record. Once you have written something in the ledger, it becomes very difficult to change it without the agreement of all those involved in the contract. You want to make sure you can get it right before you commit something to the ledger. Along with those same lines, developers can build in automated checks along the way. As they say, this ensures the parties can validate additional information before endorsing a transactional proposal. Brian Bendeloff, executive director at Hyperledger and a big advocate of open source distributed ledger technology, says this is a big milestone for the project and the organization as it looks to help organizations adopt distributed ledger technology. Fabric 2.0 is a new generation framework developed by and for the enterprises that are building distributed ledger capabilities into their core of their businesses. This new release reflects both the development and deployment experience of the Fabric community and confirms the arrival of the production era of enterprise blockchain. Berndeloff said in the statement. That remains to be seen. The rise of blockchain in business has moved at a slow pace. But this release shows that the open source community is still committed to building enterprise-grade distributed ledger technology. Today's announcement is another step in that direction. And so Hyperledger, one of the most premier distributed ledger technologies, is at the forefront of a lot of this food trust sort of development that's going on, the sort of from the seed all the way to the shelf. Oh, there's a couple of questions in the chat. Jibber Jabber says, or ask, will the digital yuan become the next reserve currency? I believe that's been the case. In the past, they have talked about the petro yuan. And so beyond the petro yuan, now you're talking about a digital yuan to take on the Libra from Facebook. That's why Facebook supporters, the sponsors, dropped out. They didn't want no smoke with the Chinese. They didn't want that smoke. So they jumped off of that.
I mean, you got to realize, man, the amount of Facebook users you have versus the amount of people on the Chinese continent. Dude, Facebook outnumbers the Chinese.
Well, to an extent, right? If you think about Africa and their currency spirals, 35 to 30 to 40 of the currencies on the continent are actually unstable.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would they use as an alternative? They would use the digital yuan.
Yeah.
You have 2 billion people overnight. That matches Facebook. See, all of Facebook's
Their accounts aren't all real.
the accounts are not human based. They're actually propagated accounts. Not that they're malicious, but they're actually just accounts that don't actually have any human
Right. So the actual the number that they tout isn't it's not truly reflective.
Right. All right, Mufasa asked the question in the chat. So if the state forced everyone growing cannabis to get on the blockchain for track and trace reasons, the data they get from that could revolutionize the industry if they shared it.
Okay, so think about it like this, Mufasa. See, now you're starting. Yeah, okay. See, because look at it like this. You have states that have their export, if you will, right? Texas beef, California oranges, or Florida oranges, right? Or I don't know if they still do it, but Florida oranges, stuff that right, that you could attribute to a specific place. Okay, in some places where it's not big, you don't really have like something like a California agricultural landscape, right? We got plenty of place to grow all types of stuff. Okay, but in places like Vermont or something, what if you could export some very fine hemp? Okay, so if if you mandate it from the state and you say, hey, look, we're looking to, because hemp is 50 state legal. Just let's understand this right now. So if you got like some primo hemp bud out there on the market, and it becomes that Vermont grown stuff, okay, that's a good revenue source for that state. The state would be remiss to not collect all of the data that they can get, especially if they have a very good product or have a very good method or a technology that gives them the insights on how to produce really good quality hemp bud or just hemp product. So from a state standpoint, yeah, if you're looking to leverage this for that to be a revenue generator for the state, then you'll want to implement something like this.
Otimo in the chat asked the question, how could Africa adopt PBOC, CDBC, and not have its economy controlled by China? It doesn't necessarily have to be controlled by anybody. You always have convertible currencies in every country. Every country has this. So what happens in let's say Cuba, in Cuba, they accept euros. They have their own peso currency on the ground, but they also accept euros. Does that mean that Cuba is now not being controlled by the Europeans? No, they accept the currency. They've integrated into their system as a form of payment transaction processor. And so when I was on the continent a couple of weeks ago, I used American dollars. But one thing that they did not do, they did not accept U.S. dollars that were manufactured pre-2009. They don't accept that.
Interesting.
Because the rate for that currency is so low. The U.S. currency is so low pre-2009. If the dollar was manufactured before then, they won't accept it because they don't get the same. They don't get the maximum rate for it, or rate of exchange for it. And so
you got to walk around with old notes.
No, I made sure I went to the bank and got
or you just went and right. Okay.
I got all brand new notes the very night I was leaving. So I only had like 2 or 3 notes that were actually pre-2009, but even those, I ended up spending those at the airport, and so they didn't even care. but people on the ground would not accept that.
Interesting.
And so there's nothing saying that you cannot adopt, a convertible system. Other countries do it all the time. And the continent of Africa is no different. But if you talk about digital currencies, that's a difference. That's a game changer.
That's a different, yeah.
Right.
Man.
I mean, no one ever says that because we adopt a SWIFT system in different countries, that's a form of colonialism. That's just a system. That's the global system.
What's the famous or infamous Rothschild's quote? What does it say? I care not who let me lend a country its money. I care not who writes its laws.
Right.
Meaning, like, dude, even the people who write the laws for a country would be subservient to me if I issue their money.
All right. Who's in the
Somebody in the back? I was looking at the chat.
It's Ty City. Let me read this last article on the docket. This is from Blockchain News again. Twitter CEO endorses Bitcoin for Black America.
What? Wait. Dude, weren't we just covering this dude?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, man.
Whenever discussions about the benefits of cryptocurrency adoption takes place, there are often misconceptions about the ethnic groups in general know the most and which stand to gain the most from the decentralized technology. While the value of the power of cryptocurrency have been steadily recognized in parts of Africa due to necessity with inflation and remittance, I talked about that a few seconds ago. This type of adoption is not taking place within the African American community. The African American community is in the majority recognized to be at an economic disadvantage, with an existing legacy financial system propelled by unethical practices such as redlining, among others. However, the cryptocurrency by its nature could serve to rectify such circumstances and level the playing field for all involved. On February 23rd, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, tweeted his support of a new book that promotes Bitcoin's substantial potential benefits to the African American community. Dorsey, whose Twitter platform now hosts about 330 million users globally, told his 4.3 million followers how Bitcoin could prove to be a potential lifesaver to the African American community. The book, Bitcoin in Black America, written by Isaiah Jackson, offers a breakdown of the role cryptocurrencies can take in the African American perspectives, a group with a history of being underserved by major financial bodies. As noted by the writer, it is quite surprising that Black people in the US are yet to embrace cryptocurrency despite the fact that it offers a potential route to financial autonomy. Call for change in perception of cryptocurrency to the African American community. According to Jackson, one of the major problems among African American community is their outlook on cryptocurrency. Although they are not the only group that sees Bitcoin as a potential scam, with news of several schemes being employed to exploit the lack of regulations in place of cryptocurrency. Misinformation coupled with lack of banking access has made investing in cryptocurrency less appealing among the Black people in the United States. In his book, Jackson called for a quick change in order to not miss the potential benefit that could be derived from the use of Bitcoin. His sentiments seems to have been shared by the Twitter CEO. As shown in his tweet recently, Jack has also been seen to show interest in this space as he has made efforts to come up with a decentralized social media platform earlier this year. So,
Decentralized social media platform
for African Americans. So they're talking about Black Twitter. They're going to spin off something. Who's that?
What's up,
Ty?
bro? Yeah.
Ty City.
Yeah, what it do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Man, I was looking for this article, man. I found it. I know y'all probably covered it already, so yeah, it's another brother that just did something phenomenal today, bro. like I'm gonna say go damn near historic, bro, in this space. Um, he tokenized $2.2 billion in real estate
Hmm.
on the. Do y'all remember me speaking about polymath not too long ago?
Polymath. No, refreshers.
Okay, so polymath is pretty much like it's pretty much like it's on Ethereum, but
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum is set up in a way where the SEC and other regulatory agencies won't allow it to be used. You know what I'm saying? As for tokenizing assets. So this is actually like big, big, because I'm pretty sure that if this model works, the Polymath platform blockchain is going to be the it in financing.
Can you find a link or something on that and post it?
Yeah, I'll put it in the back chat. But yeah, this brother right here, I mean, hey, we shaking this space up, man.
Hmm.
You know, Reggie Middleton had the Veritasium set up. The SEC came after him after he did the deal with the Jamaican Stock Exchange.
Yep, saw that.
Yep.
Saw that. We talked about that last year.
Yeah, and I think they coming to some kind of resolution. So that's going to be opening up here soon too.
Mhm.
Yeah, let me get that link for you, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is it, man. This is the year. You know, you got people, Ty City, you got people out there talking about space doesn't exist. You know, there ain't no such thing as satellites. You know, the moon is made of cheese. It's a hologram.
Yo, it's bad out there, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, people talking about 8-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves, 12-ounce gloves.
Oh my God, 12-ounce mouse.
Yeah, well, man, I'm telling you, man. YouTube, black people, there's something going on. It might be in the water. It might be.
I was about to say, bro. I think it's in the water or something, man. Because I
Was
got.
you there, Complex? I had to get off the panel, man.
Where? Wait. You know what? Mike was talking about. Dude, you already know me, man. I'll be grinding during the day, man. I can't. Be
Actually, I had to get off 2 panels today.
Yeah, man. But let's not talk too much about it. But I mean, we saw the Bitcoin for Black America. This is huge, man. The CEO of Twitter, who we covered a couple months ago,
we were just talking about this dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna go live in Africa for 6 months and go chill, and then he comes back and he's talking about Bitcoin in Black America. It's a good opportunity. We got people in the manosphere who have said Bitcoin is a scam. Meanwhile, you got people out there raking in millions of dollars, moving millions of dollars on crypto. I don't know what to say about these cats, Ty City.
Yo, I mean, I was on the stream when Buddy was saying, "Hey, take all your money and put it to the stock market," and the stock market hasn't found the support. It's like, dang, dude, why would you tell people to do that?
I thought he was gonna say put it in a Crown Royal bag, but
It'd be safer.
Oh, man. It's crazy out here, man. The stuff that I'm hearing, man. But this is big news, right? Because I finished talking about blockchain DC conference coming up in next month. Blockchain, Black people on blockchain in Atlanta. They just had that conference last week. Black wealth and Bitcoin. They just had that conference last week in Atlanta. Blockchain on the continent of Africa in Joburg. They're going to be having that popping off next month. Blockchain in Haiti, that comes later on this year. I think in June or something like that. Blockchain in Jamaica and Bermuda, happening in October and November of this year. The shit is popping off, man. The shit is popping, man.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, The article is not all that far off, man. Redlining and all these sort of institutional practices that work against Black people's best interests. Why not adopt cryptocurrencies? When we were talking about this stuff back in 2017, you had people working against us saying this is a joke and that we should open up more barbershops. They should be issuing out sucker-lay tokens, man, for all this sucker-lay talk that goes on YouTube, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's no such thing as gender. I mean, imagine that, man. You just have a bathroom that says bathroom and that's it. That's the sort of conversation that was happening earlier today, man. I'm just saying.
Man, never mind. Because I'll just have to holler at you later and find out what the hell I was listening to, because this is insane, dude. What the hell are you talking about, man? Yeah,
man, there needs to be more literacy, man. I've argued that this stuff should be in public libraries in predominantly Black communities. That this, I'm gonna have to talk to Nisby about this. That we have to start having more deeper conversations about cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrencies in general. Litecoin. Litecoin bellied out, I think, $20 last year. XRP, hasn't really, it's still affordable, but I'm just making a point that there's about 10 cryptocurrencies right now that are trading on the market that are actually attainable for Black people.
Yeah, I just bought some last week.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ty City and Lionel for the tips.
Yeah, go ahead, Ty City.
Well, this is what's happening right now.
What happened to Ty City?
They got him. Damn it. Get your foot off his neck now. Get your foot off his neck.
These are proven models now. You know what I'm saying? Business and transactions are starting to be done now. You know what I'm saying? $2.2 billion in real estate is not something.
Got him again.
Nothing you want to be in beta with. Like these are proven models that are about to head out. XRP has been experimented with for at least 5 years. You know what I'm saying? People, we covered what Bank of America went public to hire somebody to run the Ripple protocol in the banking. So I mean, all this technology is gonna come to the forefront so fast, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got Gabe A in the chat. Shout out to Gabe. He says you can't measure the status of U.S. Black community progress by YouTube panel discussions. That's not where the intellectual Black conversations are occurring. Well, you were over there.
Okay, no, I'm not really.
Oh, okay.
The heck were you doing over there, Gabe?
Yeah.
Hey, Tyler.
That's for candy.
Well, you got money? Put in your pocket.
What is this guy doing?
He's being daddy. He's giving him a rope. How come I can't pay him? Yeah. This is what's going on, man. 8-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves, 12-ounce gloves, how you want it, sir. So,
sir.
Yeah, man.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'll meet up with you at the local regional airport, international airport.
Yeah, you have to provide the Airbnb though.
Yeah, somehow Gabe, his Google Maps, his Waze, navigated him over into that sector. I'm not saying you can't go. I'm just saying, man.
He accidentally put the wrong zip code in, man. That's what happened.
Yeah. I'm not saying where you can and cannot go, man. I'm just saying that's
It's just it's an interesting critique considering. That's all.
Yeah. No, but this is really, really good information because finally this is starting to get attention that from a social justice perspective, and I know people don't like the term social justice or even the actions behind it, but this is exactly what impact entrepreneurship, impact development is all about. Social enterprising. This is exactly what it's about. What they're doing in Vermont right now is leaps and bounds of anything else that anybody else is doing in the country. And Black people could be doing the same thing in their neighborhoods had they not marginalized their intellectual class. And so what happens here is Black people are not at the forefront of this. The article states that, you know, Black people don't really collectively, don't trust, you know, cryptocurrency. They still trust the dollar, despite the fact they don't have access to it.
I mean, even though even things, you know, things as activities as benign as browsing, for example, can earn you cryptocurrencies, right?
Yeah.
So we do have a sort of like an irrational fear of a lot of this stuff. That's kind of what I'm finding. And you know, like with most things, you know, people fear what it is that they don't know or understand. So, you know, I think that's kind of what is at the core of all of this. It's just kind of like I don't know if I want to call it a willful ignorance, but it is sort of like an ignorance of what's going on in the world, right, you know, around them. Some of it willful, you know.
No, it's just one of those. Actually, let's pull up Ty City's article.
Okay.
All right, this one is from CoinDesk.com. Shout out to Ty City for sending this in. Startup tokenizes $2.2 billion in commercial real estate through Polymath. Let's spin this out.
Wait, that guy looks educated lamish.
Oh yeah.
Just, you know, based on
anything with glasses makes you educated lame now.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, tell me about it.
Commercial real estate marketplace Red Swan has tokenized $2.2 billion in real estate through security token platform Polymath. According to Red Swan CEO Ed Nowicki, $780 million of that is available to investors in pre-sale, while the company has another $4 billion in real estate in its tokenization pipeline. The $2.2 billion dollars represent 16 different Class A commercial properties based in Austin and Houston, Texas, Brooklyn, New York, Oakland, California, and Ontario, Canada. Tokenization has struggled to transform the multi-trillion-dollar real estate market as institutions hesitate to re-engineer back offices until they see liquidity. Graham Moore, head of tokenization at Polymath, believes this project will work where others failed. I think what kind of happened in the past was there were more platforms like Harbor, Propeller, and Fluidity, which were really tech companies. More said, they didn't really have the real estate background or the expertise to understand how private real estate market works. New York City-based Red Swan is holding investors' funds in escrow and plans to distribute shares in April. Meanwhile, Edie said Red Swan is the middle of becoming a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. We talked about that earlier, the SEC, which will allow it to manage assets for accredited investors. The tokens are ST20 tokens running on Ethereum, but Red Swan plans to switch over to the enterprise blockchain platform in the future for increased speed and security. Polymath only provides the tokenization technology, while Red Swan appraises markets and sells the deals. Wokidi, an 18-year veteran in real estate space, turned to tokenization because he was looking for a way to open up high-quality real estate investment, usually only available for institutions and high net worth individuals to accredited investors. Red Swan claims it has 30,000 accredited investors on its platform. You have a very large segment of investors who are between $500,000 and $10 million that were not participating because they just don't have enough equity to buy a quality piece of real estate. So they focus on more risky, lower class level projects. And Wakides also hopes to help property owners who are property rich and cash poor by allowing them to pull more equity out of their properties without having to go to the bank. While banks will usually only allow roughly 50% of leverage on a given asset, Res One allows property owners to tokenize 90% of their net equity underlying a property. Res One makes money by taking a percentage of the equity that's issued, and tokens sit within a digital wallet customized custody by Prime Trust and are insured up to $1 billion.
Damn.
So that's bigger than FDIC.
Yo, FDIC is 250K, right?
Yeah.
Dog, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I mean,
a
this
brother,
is not,
yo, wait, hold on, Ty. A brother did this shit, y'all. You know what? I'm sick of y'all. Don't stop. Just stop it. Go ahead, Ty. I'm sorry.
this is not financial advice. You know what I'm saying? I got in early on this, right? So when this first came out, Polymath, everybody was doing the ICOs. But see, Polymath was thinking so far into the future that they came out and they pretty much gave tokens away. They didn't charge because then they would be, you know what I'm saying, liable. So they've been playing by the rules since they came out, you know. So it's always been this push to make this a blockchain for the financial world, you know what I'm saying? And when I read through the white paper, it clicked automatically. So now they kind of hinted at it in this article, but it's still on Ethereum. It's still on top of the ERC20, but this is going to be its own blockchain with all the regulations from the SEC and everything else built into it.
Built in, yeah.
Yeah, so this is, I'm just saying, not financial advice, but you know.
Yeah, we got
my
you.
portfolio, I was like, damn, man, the whole market going down. I looked at my portfolio, and after I read the article, it didn't hit to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I see 2.2 billion, but I'm thinking something to do with the coin. It didn't click. I looked at my portfolio, and it was just all the way in the green. And yeah, man. Even right now, I think Polymath is at. Let me see what Polymath is at right now.
Yep, I'm up for
Polymath
another.
is at 2.5 cent right now.
Yeah. Hey, Ty, shoot that one my way, dude. I'm
and what's going to happen is when they go to the new blockchain, the actual coin supply is supposed to change. So, and I think they're going to enable some kind of staking reward when they do it. So,
yeah, I got some snaps on it tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I loaded the boat on this like a few months ago.
I got some snaps on it. Shoot me that. Just text it to me, Ty.
Okay.
But Ty, this is what's going to happen to the auto industry. All those nice based vehicles,
dude.
They're gonna explode.
They're gonna use that. They're probably gonna use his shit.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff gonna be on a blockchain like this, because all the regulations, everything's gonna be built into it. So,
right.
I mean,
compliance checks. You know, people, you know, and I'm not gonna mention any names. People are taking shots at us for having these car talks and say, "Oh, you guys just wasting money on cars." Listen, I don't know.
If these investments check out, it'd be a whole new channel just for.
Woo!
Yeah, man.
Cars are an appreciating asset, folks.
Yeah. You think those Porsche 993s and 9
what was that 911? Which one was that one?
993. It was a
993. It was like 1 of 100 or something.
Yeah, it was the last air cooled Porsche.
The last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the 964 was the one before that. So what I'm saying here is those cars are gonna, once you start tokenizing those cars, man, those things are gonna explode right through the fucking roof.
Oh yeah, they going all the way up. I mean, you know, just to say I own a piece of that, it cost me this much, but I mean, damn, man.
Mhm.
I try to tell people, you know, because you know they're gonna tokenize stocks, and I was trying to explain this
Dude,
on the
they
panel
hey
one time,
Ty, they're already
and
you can
and
already get fractionalized through Robinhood.
right, but what I'm saying is you can't spend them yet.
Yeah,
So I was just saying that your
Okay.
stocks are going to be pretty much like a currency,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I was trying to explain this, but people were just like, "No way, you can already." I was like, "No, because you're going to spend it. The transaction is going to be so fast that the actual exchange happened within a second,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be able to use it as money."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, Dodge Vipers and all types of American muscle, man, gonna be up on the market.
Yeah,
Gonna move, man, and people are gonna be like, yo, you know, all those guys with those 3-car garages and stuff like that, man, they're gonna be able to tokenize those assets when they go through a divorce.
yeah, yeah. It ain't going to be nobody deciding it either.
Yeah.
It'll be built into it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine marriage may end up going through a blockchain.
Yeah.
Marriage
Yikes.
licenses through a blockchain.
Hey, what's the whatchamacallit, dude? The smart contract.
Yeah, this smart
Yeah.
contract wanted to provide all of that. So what I'm saying here is, man, we're at the crux of something major, a major tectonic shift in digital transformation. You know, people are acting as if you know, this is pie in the sky stuff. You are out of your mind. Once they start tokenizing asteroids and stuff like that, it's over, man. It's a different sort of ball game.
Hey, they said that that the whole space is fake. Outer space is fake.
Oh yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I thought it was joking. So I didn't know if I should troll them or see if they was troll or investigate. I didn't know what to do, bro.
No, Alf, man. Alf.
Alien life form.
Yeah, you love that TV show, man.
Yeah, man. I was
Small
just like, have you ever seen somebody put a satellite in space? I'm like, dude, do you think they invest all this money to put on a show? Yo,
Nah, man. Let's be easy on them, man. But this is definitely dope stuff, man. What this brother's
Yeah, good looking on this one, Ty.
yeah, good looking out on that. What this brother's doing, what Twitter is talking about doing, you know, endorsing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for African Americans, creating a new social media space for Black Twitter. That's going to be a whole entire section. You know, people think that the manosphere is just online, man. No, people are paying attention to this, man. You think that media people are not paying attention to this type of stuff? You're crazy. You're crazy. They are listening to what brothers got to say. They're listening to all these discussions. Don't let the numbers fool you. Don't think that because we only got a couple of thousand subscribers that somehow these people ain't watching. There's people watching this, man. I've met people in person, a professor at a very major D1 university who told me specifically he listens to the Brain Trust. Even if he doesn't agree with it, he still listens. Okay? This is somebody who has a book out on Amazon about counterterrorism. He listens to our geopolitics hangouts. So you say what you want. There's people out there listening.
yeah, man. I read that this morning, man. I was just like, wow, man. Now that is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a big deal to have that much money on top of a blockchain.
Mhm.
I mean, if you take $2.2 billion out of the
Right off
whole
the
crypto
rip.
market, you're going to see a
Mhm.
dip in the whole market. That's how big that is.
Yeah. How do you get those Kobe's onto the blockchain and tokenize them?
Yeah, but I mean, that's just it's the wave, and you know, like I told you this morning, Complex. You know, I'm not interested in explaining UBI. I'm not interested in explaining tokenization. I mean, y'all guys got it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not. It's gonna turn into a debate or an argument, and somehow people become experts in this stuff.
Well, wait. What is our consigliers always say? There is no debate.
Yeah, there is no debate. There is no debate.
If they want to debate, man, if they want to debate about it, then how do they want to do it? 8-ounce gloves, 10 ounces, or 12 ounces? How do they
Yeah,
want?
they would. That's what I'm saying. I'm not calling anybody else out. I called somebody
Greco-Roman.
out, and they said that I was hating on the brother, but I wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, man. We love our allies, man. I just think that it was just hilarious today. I thought that was way out of way out
What?
of my domain.
Man, okay, man. Y'all gotta put me up on game when this is over.
Yeah, it was way out of my domain, what I can actually comprehend. But this is the time, for those of you listening, man, this is the time to really get into the literacy aspect behind cryptocurrencies and what do you call it, blockchain, distributed ledger technology. I mean, we're not just talking about this for shits and giggles, man. This is real. This is the real deal, man. Give me a quick second. And we can go here. It should take us here. And, share my screen real quick. For those of you who are new to the channel and watching for the first time, this is from edx.org. So blockchain technologies are changing industry. So professional certificate in blockchain for business. This is what you want if you want to get some good literacy on blockchain implementation, as well as its uses. And so this is a good primer. If you pass it, it can go to your LinkedIn account, and everybody on LinkedIn will know that you've actually you've achieved this certificate. This is the type of stuff that is going to get you into different circles in terms of technology. So let me drop this in the chat for the newbies. Lady Plant Salon says, "Hope y'all got on Tezos." I haven't got on that type of on that yet. Mostly because most of my focus is on Hyperledger. I haven't really been paying too much attention.
Yeah, Tezos and Chainlink, man. It's looking like they about to have some big announcements with Microsoft come out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, that's where we are right now. I think that you'd be doing yourself a disservice. Thanks to Zone for spamming the chat with that information as well. So this is where we are right now. Cryptocurrencies are part and parcel to African Americans as blockchain is to Pan-Africanism on the continent. This is what people are having these discussions about. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Hey Mike, can I say this? I just want to say this right now on the record. Polymath today. What's today's date? February 27th.
Today's the 27th.
2020. Polymath is at 2.5 cents right now. And whenever this model is proven and they go on to their own dedicated blockchain, all the U.S. financial regulators will have a node on that blockchain.
Hey, I already told you what I'm doing.
It won't be 2.5 cents anymore.
First thing in the morning.
I have to call Tie City Hollow. Tie Hollow.
Hey, Mike, check your text, dude.
What about it?
No, I'm just saying when we finish up, check your text.
All right. Let's see if there's any conversation in the chat. Super Triz, what it do, man?
He ready to get up here and talk some shit.
Yeah, let me shut this down, man, because we do have another live stream we have to do, and if I don't shut it down in time, it won't allow me to start back up. So thank you all for joining us. Please hit the like button if you've not already done so. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust when those posts on the community tab. There's a docket and description beneath the video for you to follow along with. Just as an FYI, we are not certified financial planners. If you want to certify financial planner, go to CFP.net. We do not give out financial
Don't listen to Ty City.